Happy Monday, everybody. It's a scary look, but we're sitting outside this morning. So we're just sitting here. I figured since this one seems to want to be addressed, I don't know why you cry when you are addressed, then you demand to be addressed. Like, can you make up your mind? I just really don't understand why you're doing this. But hey, you want me to address it. So, in true nonsense fashion, I'm going to address it in my own way. So, for those of you that don't understand what's going on, you're about to. You will understand shortly what is happening here. But let me go ahead and play this intro right quick just because it annoys her. And then we will get into this with what is happening and the ridiculousness that she's attempting to spin. Happy Monday, y'all. Okay, we're going to kick Monday off with a bang because Brittany J, you asked for this one. Don't cry for me, Argentina, after you get what you asked for. So we're going to start here, but let me quick say hello. Hey, Teresa. Hey, Cash. Hey, Go Bulldogs. Cheryl. Dimple Duck. Oh, yeah. It's been wild out here, Dimple Duck. Melissa Jade. Moy. Jill. Granny's watching. Don't apologize. You didn't do anything. You didn't bring me into anything. She is, so you don't need to apologize. Nicole B, Shama, Andy, Malicious Intent, Taylor, SRB, Janice in Accounting, Fit and Curvy, Chico, I Am Too, Skankass, Tanya Harding, Natalie, Laura, Meatfoot's in the house, Freeside, Catherine, Penny for your thoughts. Laura, I don't know if I got you already or not, but hello again. William, Brooklyn, Ella Green, Andy Rose, Angel, We Gob Sheet, Sammy, Gina Marie, Miss Brittany, Band-Aid of Memories, Gracie B, Miss Arnold, Mrs. Arnold, Tara, and Jay. Okay, y'all, let's get into this because I got other content that I want to do. But when you bring me into a mess and try to demand that, well, you'll see it. Anyways, this all falls under fair use. As everybody knows, this is based on my opinion only of the BS that she put out here publicly. This is Brittany's stream from last night. She has already done another stream, so there's your fair use disclaimer. This all falls under the copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Anyways, you know the drill. Okay, let's just go ahead and jump right into this. So if you're confused, you will understand shortly why we are here. So this is her stream from last night, 27 minutes in.
Block the trolls. Jesus Christ. Okay, so we got some misinformation that I'd like to clear up. And it's disgusting. There's a creator.
You hear that, right? She's got some misinformation she'd like to clear up. So she identifies that she knows what misinformation is right off the top of her head. However, this gets really interesting.
Let me ask you guys something real quick. Nana's place. No, we don't. I'm confused. If the mods just block the trolls.
We might have to speed her up. You guys know how much I can't sit still.
Yeah, my kids definitely are not without food. My kids are very well taken care of, and everybody knows it. So there's a misinformation that I want to clarify because it's disgusting, and I'm so disappointed that like there is a horrible double standard in this community, and
we're going to talk about that double standard there,
and it needs to be addressed. Today there was a particular stream that was happening, and it was brought to my attention that a creator is really going around saying that Seth Rogers said that Sebastian.
Janice, I got him too, but for some reason they won't play through on this. I got to play with it more. I'm going to do that between streams because I got him loaded and everything, and it won't play on this. So
was SA'd, and because he was SA'd, he was exhibiting those same behaviors onto other people. That is the biggest lie I've ever heard.
Okay, you heard what she just said. Let me back that up once again so you can listen clearly to what she says was stated.
Everybody knows it. So there's some misinformation that I want to clarify because it's disgusting, and I'm so disappointed that like there is a horrible double standard.
It's called life. There's double standards in everything if you really want it to be really truly
in this community, and it needs to be addressed. Today there was a
Granny, I got you, don't worry.
There was a particular stream that was happening, and it was brought to my attention that a creator is really going around saying that Seth Rogers said that Sebastian was SA'd, and because he was SA'd, he was exhibiting those same behaviors onto other people.
Okay, you heard what she just said was stated, and the creator that she's refusing to name is Granny's Watching. So she won't name names. She just expects you to read between the lines. However, she has gone on to say who it is later on, but she tries to do this like underhanded shit. Just name the creator because you guys do this constantly. I've searched the internet for a week to find the creator that was mocking Sebastian. Couldn't find it. Couldn't find it once. Lo and behold, it didn't happen.
That is the biggest lie I've ever heard. People need to know that that is not true. And I don't know. I can't believe no one's calling this out. But to sit there and say this.
You can't believe nobody's calling this out. Okay. Mind you, I did pop into Granny's Watching yesterday. It was 5:30 a.m. my time. 5:30. If you think my brain's working on all cylinders at that point in time, you're screwy in the head, truthfully. Because, yes, I was in there. Okay, she'll bring that up in a minute.
Seth said Sebastian was exhibiting the same behaviors as what happened to him is sick. Seth never said that. That's not what he said at all.
Tell us what he said then. Tell us what he said. Well, wait. We don't have to listen to you, but we're going to let you carry on, and then I'm going to show you exactly what was stated. I'm going to show you multiple panels of what was stated. This is how you do this stuff, Brittany. Take a lesson. Learn. You'll learn something. Maybe.
And I'm going to tell you something. As a person who's been SA'd myself, I don't appreciate that at all.
Ma'am, that is emotional manipulation right there. You didn't need to put anything about you in this. Period, point blank, end of story. All victims deserve kindness, but you refuse to understand that in 99% of your content. So using this right now is nothing but emotional manipulation. I'm sorry that happened to you, but time and place is a big thing, and using that for emotionally pulling your subs in, falsely repeating what was said, that is all emotional manipulation.
At all, because just because you have been SA'd, that does not make the person that's SA'd a person to SA at all. Yes, Jennifer K, there's a creator today.
Oh, Sammy, I don't care. They lumped me into that group all along. Like I'm in all these groups that I didn't even know people of. Like, it's amazing to me. I have friends I never knew. Hell, go ahead.
She had the nerve to say that she doesn't blame Chris for keeping Sebastian away from his daughter and protecting his daughter. She said because Seth said out of his mouth, this is what she said. She said, Seth said...
Just fucking play the clip because you're not even repeating it correctly.
Said out of his mouth that...
That's not what was said.
Sebastian because Sebastian was essayed and he was exhibiting the same behaviors as what happened to him on other people. It's sick. And that never happened. Seth never said that.
Well, this is important when you do stuff like this, to pull the actual clips and show what was said. But it seems like you're just trying to paint a narrative here, because you're not even repeating what was factually stated.
Ever. And people are just sitting there in that chat listening to that. Now, I got 3 reasons why I'm bringing this up. One,
Brianna, and the crazy part is they don't understand that. Well, she knows what she's doing. I won't say that, but it is just beyond. It is beyond. It's beyond. It's ridiculous. And I don't want that to happen to anybody, but the twist and turn here is unnecessary.
One, because that's sick and we do not need that rumor started. 2, so Regina, it's ironic Regina come up. Regina merely just mentioned that bedwetting is a sign of trauma and they attack the ever living daylights out of us. But this person, which is one of them, literally lied today and said that, and nobody called her out for it.
And nobody called her out for it. Nobody called her out. She's going to go on for a little bit.
They just let you, that is sick. And anybody who's keeping up with the case, you all know that Seth has never said that Sebastian was, doing the same behaviors.
Everybody in the comment section, hold your horses. If you know how I work, I've got the timestamps, the clips, everything to walk you right through it. So we will get there. Just let her run her mouth for a minute, because you're about to see how this actually works.
As what happened to him. And I got the clip.
Play it then.
And it needs to be called out. And if I have to stand alone and call it out, I will. Especially when they want to put that label on me that I'm misinformation.
You are.
Well, shame on you. Seriously.
Well, here's the problem I have with that. Any creator saying that about a little boy that is missing is disparaging.
Yep.
And would make people feel in a negative light against Sebastian, which would hinder that person that would feel that way about him looking for him. Shame on them.
Exactly. And they want to talk about some of
the irony of all of this that's about to come. Brittany, you might want to learn and take lessons on how this is factually done when you point out misinformation. You might want to watch how I do it, because you might learn something, because what you did is just make an ass of yourself by trying to do some weird shit here.
The people that actually support her want to talk about what if Sebastian comes back. When Sebastian comes back, he's going to have to deal with that. Well, that person just said that, she flat out said that Seth said Sebastian was exhibiting those same behaviors. That is not true. Why are y'all not calling this out?
And that's not what was said.
Never.
Brittany,
Oh,
I have a different.
Remember, Brittany, you demanded that I call this out and don't have double standards with this. You demanded that. Well, you'll say that too. Hold on.
And I'm sorry. But
Thank you, Melissa.
I lost my mom when
Hi, can you hear me?
And I lost her to cancer. And it was very devastating for 2 years.
Okay, I'm not going to listen to Nana. She drowns.
Go to my grandma's.
I feel bad. She's got trauma. I get that. That's not what we're doing here. So let's just fast forward to the part where, hold on, I got my timestamps ready. You guys know me and my timestamps. All right, let's go back to where they actually start.
Who said that Sebastian,
hold on.
Because you don't know what they have gone through in their past. But anyway, go ahead, Britt. I'm sorry.
No, you're all right. Listen, oh my God, I don't even know how to even address this now.
Oh, go ahead.
With the stuff that was said today, it's not right. It needs to be called out. And if I have to stand by myself, I'm going to do it. Sebastian was not harming any other kid. There's not been one person who said that Seth did not say that. I need to play the clip, honestly, because I'm going to call it out. And nothing ever gets called out. It's a double standard. It's disgusting. These people, they want to talk about tragedy, Pence.
Nothing ever gets called out. It's a double standard. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, let's play into your double standard here for a minute. Let's go ahead. Okay, so I hear this. This is my train of thought. I get alerted that I'm being demanded to call Granny out for something once again. So last time I was demanded to call Granny's out, Granny's watching out for something. I asked repeatedly for the clips that they were referencing. They couldn't provide them. Mind you, still haven't provided them. Couldn't tell me where any of this was. Then I find out that it's potentially years ago, but I'm still being expected to call it out. So this perks my ears up. I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do here? Let's take a look.
They want to talk about how we talk about the Proudfoots, and they trash us every day. They're constantly trying to cancel me. They're trying to
cancel you. Calling out and correcting your misinformation and showing how you emotionally manipulate is not attempting to cancel you. You're not a victim, Brittany. Please stop.
Cancel CJ. They're trying to cancel out every single.
By the way, friends, CJ canceled himself, and we will be doing all of that this afternoon. And there is some pretty hefty things that we're going to go over this afternoon. So buckle up. Today is going to be a little bit of a messy Monday.
Fucking person that talks about what they don't like. And then today you have grannies watching go live, and she with
she's so mad she's even hitting her desk.
Half of all these people that are the people that have been coming after me every day, the people that's been going after CJ, the people that's been going after Brooks, Justin, Smiley, T.
Everybody on my thumbnail, you're welcome. I made it easy for you to remember who is misinformation. There's a lot more than that, though, too. I can only fit so many faces on one thumbnail, but let me tell you, there is endless amount of misinformation. People, if you would have paid attention, 1111 True Crime probably got more heat than you even have because of the bullshit she's doing. But you continue to want attention and play this victim. So here we are. You asked for it.
Rev, the people that have been coming after us every day sat in that panel and they listened to her say that Seth said Sebastian was SA'd. And
must be another one of those all-star panels that didn't exist. I don't know if anybody was on panel with Granny when this went on, actually. Granny was in there. People were in the chat. Okay.
He was exhibiting those same behaviors onto others. I can
hell
quote it.
No.
Sebastian Rogers was not.
By the way, the fact that she is even trying to use this part again is completely disturbing. But she's got to find any little thing to look over here, not over there.
Exhibiting SA to anybody else. And she needs to be called out for it. And if they want to sit in there and let her say that, you go ahead. But I'm not going to sit by and sit on and keep my mouth shut. Y'all.
Girl, you haven't done that once yet. I have not seen you shut your mouth yet. Every night for 3 to 6 hours nightly, you've been discussing this, dissecting every word they say, blaming the parents for things, putting out misinformation, doing all sorts of stuff. You have yet to shut your mouth.
Don't give a fuck about these cases. The only reason you claim to is because your numbers go up when you talk about people. Because if you truly cared about the victims like you say you do, you would have never just sat there and went along with that today. Sitting there saying she can understand why Chris was trying to protect his daughter from Sebastian. That Sebastian, Chris, that because it was Seth's fault that we know what we know about Sebastian. Seth never said that about his daughter.
Remember, you're hearing what she claims was stated, right? She knows this as a fact. She didn't go grab the clips to show anybody, and she's done 2 lives now. This one last night and one this morning, bitching and moaning about this and completely twisting and turning stuff.
I mean, his son. And shame on you. I got the clip and I'm going to play it.
Ooh, do it.
I want y'all to listen to this. I want y'all to listen closely.
Play the clip.
That one makes me cry how somebody
Because they're not going to
about him.
And I'm an SA survivor myself. And let me tell you something.
Nothing but emotional manipulation. This has nothing to do with you. Take you out of it. This is about Sebastian. This is what is discussed. You don't need to bring you into any of this. This is the overlap that they continue to do to prey on their subs. This is emotional manipulation. Again, sorry to anybody that's an SA survivor, but you don't get to use it like this to weaponize against other people.
As an SA survivor myself, you couldn't pay me $1 million to touch another person. Just because you're SA, it does not make you an aggressor. It
No,
doesn't mean you're going
never.
to do. And
I'm
that
not.
that baby is innocent, and he did not deserve that. And I'm
Amen.
sick of it.
All right.
Now,
Amen, bro.
do I have biases? Absolutely, I do. This girl has tried to rip me a new one. But what I also know is you're not going to come after me day after day. Yeah, they tried to destroy me because Regina says that bedwetting is a sign of trauma. They ripped me
Which-
one. They ripped me one for
Play the
4
clip.
hours straight.
Play the clip.
But guess
Which is
what?
actually a medical fact, by the way, in psychology.
It's not a medical fact. It can happen. Yes, it can be associated with trauma, but it's not always guaranteed. Ignorance is bliss. He's got a chromosome deletion, a 6q27 chromosomal deletion that can cause issues with organs. So beyond even being trauma or autism or any of the things, there are so many other factors that can play into incontinence. You guys are ignorant. And just to state that it's a medical fact, bullshit. You ain't no goddamn doctor, thank God, or a psychologist. Thank God for that too.
He didn't even say SA at the time. That's what
Oh,
makes
really?
it so bad.
He didn't.
But
I know.
here we are. Y'all going to sit here and let this go on? Let me play this for y'all. I want
Play
y'all
it.
to listen. Because I know how she is. She likes to delete stuff. No, I'm done.
Okay.
I'm
Play it.
done. Nope.
This
Not.
is what
This
you're
is
doing
it.
right now, Brittany, is to protect Seth, or to protect Seth and
To protect Seth. Yeah, we see team fan clubs over here. We get it. It's weird. Okay. And I don't want to bring this up again. I don't want to put this out here again, but you will not lie on me and demand that I do something without showing exactly what happened. That's not how I play. So for those of you in my comment section asking me why I review and re-show the horrible things that they're putting, because I factually state what happened and I show you in clips what is the problem. Again, their content's up anyways. Their content's now down. They don't correct the misinformation. They don't care. They just keep it moving. Okay? So stop asking me the stupidest questions about, well, why do you put it back? Because somebody has to stand up and say enough's enough.
Sebastian. It's not about any of us. It's about Seth and Sebastian. So go ahead.
It's so wrong. It's so wrong. And if anybody stands for it, you're shame on you. Y'all prove you don't give a F.
Can you fucking play the clip and shut the fuck up?
While y'all sit there and drag us and talk about how horrible.
You haven't been drugged yet. Not once. Not even remotely close. If you want a dragging, a pure and utter dragging, tell me. Sign me up, because I'll play a never have I ever night with you. And there is so much shit. And there are so many people that would be willing to come on this panel and talk about factual shit you've done.
We're tragedy pimps, right? And we don't care about these kids. We exploit, right? You're going to sit there and let her say that crap. Nobody corrected her. Nobody. And to my knowledge, this ain't the first time. Hold on a minute.
Said in a previous interview there was turmoil at home. The one you comment on
Listen to her mock.
I mean, we've heard Chris talk about it, and we've heard Seth talk about it. About Chris.
So what is happening here in this is she is playing a voice recording or a screen recording or something with the audio only of Granny's watching, reviewing the panel from Web Sleuths when the PIs were on from yesterday. Granny's live stream is still up in full context. I went and checked before I started this. You can see all of it for yourself if you would like to.
Chris didn't want Sebastian around his younger daughter.
Right.
And that would.
We've heard Chris say this. Has Chris come out and said that?
Was a big problem.
Factually speaking, no. That would be a no. Chris has not said that.
Right.
So can you comment on any of the situation going on at home before Sebastian went missing?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Chris admitted to there being CPS calls. And I really think the way you described it was that it was plural. I have confirmation that those did happen.
But yeah, can I just jump in here? Yeah, he said Nancy Grace, there was no CPS calls, none.
Right. So he's kind of
pertaining to Sebastian, he answers the way the question is given. The guy is intelligent. He doesn't beat around the bush. He's not playing into the games. He answers the question the way he's given. Now, not only that, but let's face it, if what Seth came out and told all of us was true, then it is Chris's responsibility to protect his daughter while protecting Sebastian, right? Now, Seth unfortunately brought this information out. Seth unfortunately told us that things had happened. And absolutely, I would not be angry at Chris for wanting to protect his daughter from that same type of trauma, while also protecting Sebastian. I don't know why people act like that's such like that. I mean, that's common. It's normal.
He's cracking on what he had said, you know, because I don't know if I told y'all the last time I was on here, I was like, I'm just posting their words.
Listen to my comment section. You can have your little back and forth with Granny all you want. Ain't nobody want to be Granny's watching. Granny is herself and an individual, and I think most of us are adults and are okay with who we are. This ain't about wanting to be or simping for or doing something. This bitch brought me into this on her own free will. You'll see. You'll hear it yourself. So sit on the fuck down in my comment section and shut the fuck up, because I'm not simping for Granny. I'm not correcting for Granny. I'm correcting for myself. Brittany wanted me to do this. I'm doing it. She wants to play the game she wants to play. I'm playing them in how I play chess. I don't play these little Connect 4 games. I play 3D chess, motherfuckers.
Right, what they have
I'm
said.
not even making a post with an opinion in it. I'm just saying what they've said.
Are you saying what Seth has said?
Exactly.
So
Watch.
yeah,
Exactly.
it does seem like there were some issues for Chris with Sebastian and his daughter being together.
But why? But why? Okay. Listen to me saying that her dogs are distracting. Why I have a distracting cat down the bottom. I have no business. Hey, Katie. So this is annoying because she put out the words where Seth says that Sebastian's head went into his hand. Was that placed out there?
Sebastian had not. There's been no reports of Sebastian.
It's coming. She's about to say it.
Directly with his daughter.
No,
Of course not. Right. And
why would you even ask that then? Why wouldn't you ask the question that we all know? We all know without a doubt, because of Seth, that Sebastian was a victim and he started mimicking those behaviors onto others. That is how it was.
Do you hear that?
No, she did not say that.
You just hear that?
Yeah.
So
We
why
all
would-
know, and she says without.
Stop talking over her and play the rest of the clip. Stop talking over her and let her finish.
Without a doubt, right? Without a doubt.
Sebastian tripped on a leg.
I'm going to play it again. She says, we all know without a doubt that from Sebastian, from Seth, that Sebastian was SA'd and he started mimicking those behaviors onto others. Listen to this shit again. She said this today, y'all. And guess what? None of them in the chat corrected her. None of them.
Okay.
Hold on a minute. I'm going to play it again. I'm going to play just that part. Listen closely.
Hey, Katie. So this is annoying because she put out the words where Seth says that Sebastian's head went into his hand. Was that placed out there?
Sebastian had not. There's been no reports of Sebastian behaving inappropriately directly with his daughter.
No.
Of course not. Right. And
why would you even ask that then? Why wouldn't you ask the question that we all know? We all know without a doubt, because of Seth, that Sebastian was a victim and he started mimicking those behaviors onto others. That is how it was. That is how it was consumed through what Seth has stated. So why would you even ask if it had to do with Chris and his daughter?
Can you believe that?
Okay.
Being an anti-tragic him.
No.
Okay, you heard the clip. I'm going to let it play for a few more, and then we're going to pull the clips of what Seth actually stated. Shocking how it's easy to do that.
What she said.
Why dare she
What she said
do a
was.
live on that?
Yeah, but what she said
is
was
this?
that is what was consumed by Seth's behavior.
Well, that's because she's ignorant and she don't understand what words mean, Nana. What she's trying
Ignorant.
to say is it's basically that all right, somebody's got a horrible echo. Jackie, you got to turn your YouTube off, sweetheart.
Yeah,
Hang
I
on.
mean, she went
What
over the
she's
line
trying to,
tonight.
what she's saying is, she's ignorant. She don't know how to pronounce words or understand the meanings. She's trying to sound smart, but what she's saying is basically that is everything that Seth has reiterated to us. He has put that out, but guess what? He hasn't. But that's what you get when you got somebody who does drama 98% of the time, and she only jumps in every once in a while to cover a case when something big happens. And then this is one of the main people that's been coming after me to destroy me for things.
To destroy you. How is repeating and playing your own words destroying you? You're so proud of them the first time you say them. How are we destroying you by re-showing that? Can you explain to me?
That aren't even nowhere near as bad as that. She literally just accused Sebastian of
Literally.
SA behaviors. And don't tell me that I got it wrong, because I just gave y'all full 3 minutes of that conversation. Just
I don't need to tell you got it wrong. I'll show you.
so she could say, she can't say that I took her out of freaking context. And shame on all of you creators that were in her chat today, because these are the people that deets on the streets, nonsense, and all of them.
Oh, see right there. Nonsense.
These are the people that's who they support. They support her. So, and deets on the streets, you want to do a live about me because Regina said victims
Don't cry. You asked for this.
Of trauma wet the bed. Y'all destroyed me for that, but you're going to let this go? This little boy, you're going to have his name desecrated for what?
Oh, really? They're the ones desecrating Sebastian's name? Granny's desecrating Sebastian's name? Hold on.
He said, and I'm going to tell you right now, Seth never said that. The only thing that Seth said that was even not even close, was that Sebastian was a normal 15-year-old boy, and he was in the men's bathroom, and he pulled his, you know what, out and said, "Do you see, this one's mine," or something. Nothing that it's typical boy stuff that don't have nothing to do with SA.
That's not quite exactly what was said, but don't worry, we got it.
How dare you?
Regina is right. I mean, children that go through trauma wet the bed. I mean, it's true.
It's not always true. That's not factual. That is not always true. This is the most, speaking of ignorance, there you go. A prime example.
But I think I have the struggle with is Seth being, you know,
they don't care, Kat. They do not care about Sebastian.
Now today, they're so concerned about this when her she got a second channel or something, a backup channel that she was on. When she was going on and on and on this morning, she was like, somebody in her comment section, "You need to make sure you get this to Seth." And she's like, "Well, yeah, I'll send it. I'll get it to Brooks, and Brooks can tell Seth because Brooks and I are friends." I'm like, the man said it himself, but oh well.
And doing one thing in one home and the other in the other home. So that's where I have the problem. You don't change. You don't.
All right. You guys saw enough of what was accused now. The clip that was played. Let's go to the source. This is called how you factually check things. This is how you factually walk things when you're trying to explain things, Brittany. Listen, I'm going to show you how it's done. So we are going to the very first interview from Justin on TikTok. When Seth Rogers first initially, in my opinion, desecrated his own son's private information for internet content. But that's here nor there. Released his private information. Unfortunately, yes, I am going to show his exact statements, because when you're leveraging them at somebody else saying that this wasn't said, there's a reason for it. But we're not going to stop with this interview, because there's one more that followed up right after this that's extremely important when you're talking about things that he did and didn't say.
Any abuse. And so they submitted that to the court.
We're going to fast forward a little bit here.
Women like that who will use, but there are women out there who will use it. It just there's been the internet guys can be. So how is he with strangers? Do you think that he would just leave with one if one approached him?
Just no. I don't think he would leave with one because he's apprehensive. I mean, taught him to be aware of your surroundings is what I was.
And yes, I got noise in the background. I'll be going in just a second. So I'm going to mute for a second. I'm playing this in full context so you hear before and after. Just an FYI, because context matters.
Teaching him. But I've also taught him that not everybody is your friend. And I had to do that. There was an incident in California before.
Trigger warning.
Before Chris and Katie came back here, there was another CPS incident in California at her house. Katie and Chris let a child into their house that was 5 years older than my son. My son was 7 or 8 at the time, and this kid was 13. And she has a habit of not checking on her kid. I would never let some kid that's 5 years older than my son play with my son anyways. It's like, why do you want to play with my son? There's a 5-year difference. That's a pretty big difference. You're 13 and my son, you're a teenager. My son is not a teenager. He's still playing with Hot Wheels and Legos and he's building things, he's playing video games, and you're a teenager. You go out and you have your own, age appropriate group that you play with. And they were letting this kid play with my son and they weren't checking on him. And then this kid took my son's innocence and he molested him.
So you take your time.
And there was nothing I could do in California because the kid was 13. But they let that happen. And they didn't bother to try to even get my son help until last year. Here, my son is just turned 15.
And yes, you're going to notice inconsistencies in the two clips that I'm going to play for you of what Seth states. He states in this one that they never got him help. Meanwhile, we know from follow-up interviews that he was receiving help.
In December. It means he's been dealing with an emotional, stressful, traumatic incident for the last 7 years. And I've been trying to help him. I've been trying to get him help. Going to talk to his doctor and telling them what happened. And for the doctor to tell me, she was like, I knew none of this stuff. And I'm like, really? Because he's supposed to be seeing a therapist for this. And she's like, well, he's not seeing the right type of therapist for this type of trauma. I care about my son. And actions speak so much louder than words. And there's just no justification for the actions that I have seen from them. They're not parents. They're not parents at all. And I want to know what happened to my son.
You deserve to know what happened to your son. Every bit. And I'm sorry, I don't think any of us were aware of that. And I am so sorry that, number one, that he went through that, and two, that as a parent, you're going through a parent's worst nightmare, but that's like the
Heavy trigger warning on this topic. There's no way around it, but you ain't going to come out here and demand I talk about something without showing what factually happened. And we're not going to stop here. There's one other clip I'm going to include in this.
Second worst nightmare.
My son around his daughter. Because Chris has turned around and to my mother told my mom, your grandson's a pedophile. No, he's not. He's a victim that hasn't got the help that he deserves and that he needs so that he can get over the traumatic incident that has happened to him. That should have never happened underneath their watch to begin with. That's why Chris doesn't want my son around his daughter. Because he's scared that my son is going to do the same thing that was done to him under his watch.
Brittany, I think you got some explaining to do.
Hey, Chris Proudfoot, if you're listening to this, you can't hold that over my head. I told you. You're going to piss me the fuck off, and I don't give a fuck who knows.
And you're going to be pissed at Chris, so you're going to leverage and weaponize one of Sebastian's most private details that never should have been put out here, in my opinion. That wasn't your right, but you did it. You did it fully, and you didn't stop here.
It's your fault. It's your and your wife's fault. You guys don't deserve to be around kids.
You know, I don't know if you listened to it, but I know that you're aware of Nina Gomez's video, and I'm gonna.
Okay, so that's that part on this video. I think you have all seen enough on that one. But now, in true nonsense fashion, because, you know, I like to show exactly what I'm talking about. I don't just talk about it to talk about it. I'm going to switch gears here. And I'm going to take us to Pascal's the following day. And I'm going to show you more things that were said. This is what she was referencing. And you know as well as I do where this came from, Brittany J. And if you don't, well, you have some things to clear up again. Because this all came right out of his mouth.
Hi, brother. How you doing?
Well, I went to the doctor today.
Putting this on Granny, trying to twist what was actually stated without clips, trying to make this huge, you were so bothered by this, and how dare we not call this out, and how dare we not talk about this? You got what you asked for, Britt. You got it right here. And unfortunately, this should have never been put out here to begin with. I will stand on that over and over again. This is not information that the internet needed to know or should have been weaponized by his own biologic father. But it's going to get worse in this one. So heavy trigger warning. This was within the first 24 hours after he did that first interview on Justin on TikTok. And you heard what he said. You heard the implications that were made. There is no chance of not catching what was implied behind what he was stating. Chris has never said those things publicly. Seth brought this all up.
They gave me some stuff for my nerves, pain under the shoulder. They gave me some muscle relaxers and some steroids. And then proceeded to tell me to take a few days off, or else, quote unquote, you'll be dead within a week if you don't slow down.
Oh, boy. Because I understand that you've been having some sort of muscle, like you tore a muscle or something like that. Can you explain a little bit more?
I go in Monday for, not to violate HIPAA, but I go in Monday to get a image done to see if there's any tears. They gave me.
Man, I could swear we've heard Chris be torn apart up one side and down the other over him and mentioning HIPAA, and then you hear Seth mentioning HIPAA. I mean, ironic, isn't it?
Muscle relaxers to relax the muscle because they have a feeling that it's pushing up against the nerve, which is causing the nerve pain all the way down my arm to my fingers.
Oh, wow. Wow. Some serious nerve damage going on there. Can I ask you something though? How did that happen actually? What happened to you? Go ahead.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you have no idea. So you didn't fall during a search or anything of that sort. This just happened.
Probably muscle strain from doing what I was doing, and then, tightens up, muscle. I didn't go get it looked at like I should have, but taking care of it now. Give me a couple days rest, and then hit the ground running.
Yeah, man. I mean, is this gonna slow you down at all in your search? Are you gonna like take a little bit of a break?
I'm playing this for full context because I think it gets twisted easily, and Brittany is on this whole twist thing right now as is. So that's why I'm playing this section of it. It really doesn't pertain to what we're discussing, but in true nonsense fashion, I have nothing to hide. She wanted me to call it out, so we're doing it. It's just not probably going to work out in the way she wants it to.
Hang up the hat for a little bit during this search. What's the story here? Talk to me.
I'm just going to take a little break. They're still going to do flyers. We're going to have a vigil held on Sunday. I still plan on being there. I'm just going to take it a little bit easier. Give it some time to rest, for me to rest, and for it to heal, because it's been interrupting. It hurts. So that it keeps me awake.
No doubt. No doubt. Well, I mean, first off, I commend you for not slowing down, still going after it, taking care of things, getting things taken care of as far as finding Sebastian. But you just said that there's going to be a vigil on Sunday. Is that correct?
From my understanding, we're setting one up at the Rudder for Sunday.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Do we know the time? And do we know the time for Sunday?
Currently, right now, it's 6 o'clock, but that really kind of depends on the weather.
Gotcha. Are we supposed to have some bad weather on Sunday?
60% chance of rain.
Oh, yeah. That can definitely do that. That can definitely do that for sure. Okay. Well, that's good to know.
And let me be clear, for those in the comment section that think they're going to run to Seth and tattle on me or Granny's watching or twist things up, these are Seth's words, Seth's statements. Do I think Seth is guilty of anything? No, besides saying way too much out here publicly that we didn't need to know. But I think YouTubers have a hand in that. They are emotionally exploiting a man going through a lot. And he, unfortunately, has kind of signed himself up to be right there. But YouTubers have a hand in how far this has gone to. We're not going to say that that's not true, because it is. They're absolutely exploiting a man at his most vulnerable time, in my opinion. I don't think Seth is guilty of anything. It's factually stated that he was on camera at work the night that Sebastian disappeared. However, when Brittany is trying to leverage and twist things and then demand that we call out Granny's watching, this is what happens. Because if you think for 1 second you're going to put my name in the mix of some BS and try to twist things, and I'm not going to come back and show full context clips of what actually was stated by who was stated by, when you involved me in that mess, you asked for this. Again, you can apologize to Seth later for rehashing all this stuff and trying to weaponize what he did and didn't say against other people, when in reality, all you had to do was go pull the clips yourself.
So the Rudder, 6 p.m. Okay, Sunday. And that's all depending on weather. If weather is permitting, there will be a vigil.
Yeah, I don't want people out in nasty weather.
Yeah, I don't blame you. No, I don't blame you, bro. I don't blame you at all. I really, really don't blame you at all. And so thank you so much for that update. I really do appreciate that. Can we talk about any updates on the search before we dive into all this stuff, all this murky water? Are there any?
Oh, and by the way, if you like to talk about divers that are potentially RSOs, make sure you come back this afternoon, because I got a whole lot to tell you guys and a whole lot of questions for Miss Chloe, the PI over here, and Mr. CJ and Ronnie, the RSO. I've got a lot of questions, and I think some of them probably should be answered by some of you. So stay tuned. CJ, we're not done. We're not even close to done with you yet.
Any updates with the search right now?
No. None that I've been told of.
Okay. Have you had any conversations with law enforcement as of late? Have they reached out to you with anything at all?
Nope.
Good to know. Good to know. Okay. All right. Aside from your shoulder back situation, how you feeling?
Same as yesterday. Got one goal in mind. That's fine, Sebastian.
Gotcha. Okay. Fair enough. Now, we of course we got to get straight into the meat and potatoes of this, right? So are you ready to have some conversations?
I know you got questions. I haven't let you all down with answers yet.
Yeah. All right. So you had a conversation just the other day. You dropped some serious bombshells. I know
will
that.
forewarn you that I really don't. I was so tired and exhausted. I really don't even remember the podcast, man.
Wow. Whoa. Really? Really? I mean, I get it. Being sleep deprived, running on just nothing but adrenaline all day long. You were also on many shows that day as well, correct?
Yeah. I mean, everybody wanted a piece of me, and I felt like the pie was empty.
Yeah. I get that. But still, no matter what, nonetheless, there was a conversation that was had. You did drop some very big pieces of information, and whether you had said those things beforehand or after, it still doesn't matter. This was live. This was out. This obviously made the rounds and shocked a lot of people. It shocked me too, my brother. I'm going to be real. I was shocked, very, very shocked. But of course, I have some questions.
I was shocked, but I didn't hesitate using it for content. Why the hell not? It's a 15-year-old child's most private information. It's content for YouTube. Hell, his channel's grown like 20,000 subs off of putting out stuff like this. Why would you hesitate, Pascal? I mean, shit. It's doing good for some of you. Completely disgusting. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to clear up right away today, too. By the way, Trev Time, if you hear this, y'all, Trev Time reached out to me personally and explained. It has nothing to do with me, why he's leaving YouTube. So please understand that. And I have huge respect. He reached out personally to me. Nothing but props for that. I wish him nothing but the best on his endeavors, and whatever he holds, his heart is actually in the right spot. And I think whatever he's doing, I wish him luck. But here we go.
Revolving around all of that, okay? Or revolving around the information that you gave. So let's talk about it. Because
what it had to do with Sebastian?
Yes. That information that had to do with Sebastian. Go ahead. What are you going
to say? Mr.
Chronicles, if T-Rev reached out to me, I'd punch him in the face, truthfully. Through the phone. Air style. I can't with that one. Trev Time is nothing like T-Rev. Thank God for that.
Chris, people were asking why he didn't want my son around his daughter. And he kept telling me that if people keep asking questions, he's going to answer it. And turned around and stated that if he tells them, people will stop looking for Sebastian.
Really? Okay. Can I ask you something before you continue on? I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm curious. When was this conversation?
Slowing it back down to normal speed. I'm going to rewind that so you guys heard exactly what was stated there.
And turned around and stated that if he tells them, people will stop looking for Sebastian.
Really? Okay. Can I ask you something before you continue on? I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm curious. When was this conversation that was had? And was that something on a podcast, or was that something between you guys behind, on your own time behind closed doors?
Yes.
So him sitting there saying, I don't want. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
It was over the phone.
Okay. So him saying, if people start asking why I don't want Sebastian around Faith, they won't go and look for Sebastian. If they found out the truth.
Why? Yeah. That people wouldn't go look for my son.
Okay.
I told him you don't want to go down that route.
Gotcha. And he said this between you and him.
Katie was on the phone too.
So Katie was on the phone as well. Okay. So what was the conversation like? I mean, was this just a regular conversation, or was this a full-on blown out argument?
I think he tried to make it one. It wasn't going to be one.
Okay.
I did get heated because I didn't appreciate him saying that, when it's like, dude, it's just another time that you and his mom have failed him. And I'm sitting here trying to put the pieces back together.
Really?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's not
okay.
Like.
My whole issue about that is, if you cared that much for my son as you do your daughter, that you don't want my son around because there's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Why weren't you thinking about that when he's under your roof?
No doubt. That's one thing I'm very curious about as well.
So now you kind of see what we're leading into here between the two. Brittany, probably unplug your ears and actually go back and watch these videos. I mean, you've used them all for content. You've used them all for content for hours on end. This is only the second time I've watched this, and I knew that this was out here. I knew exactly where to go, what videos they were in. I just had to find the timestamps. It doesn't take that long to fact check your bullshit, Brittany, before you go out and make stupid accusations of things that were implied by Seth.
And we're going to get to that in just a minute. But what was the reason? What was the origin of this actual fight or argument or discussion on this phone that would spawn him saying that in the first place? What started this?
Asking during podcasts why he didn't want my son around his daughter.
Simple.
So this happened because, okay.
People were asking questions.
People were asking questions like the smart, intelligent people that they are. Go ahead.
Why don't you bash around your daughter? You know, people were asking, Chris, why don't you want Sebastian around your daughter? I see people in chat that were asking me all the time, why doesn't Chris want Sebastian around his daughter? There's your answer.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Interesting. So you're telling me that he looks at Sebastian like some sort of predator?
Christina, that's a very blatant accusation because, you know, unfortunately that happens to a lot of people right under their parents' watch. And you know what? Their parents didn't know, they didn't condone, and they have done everything to get their children help afterwards. That's a pretty ignorant statement, truthfully, because guess who reported it? Katie. Guess who got him into services for that? Katie. So again, that's some ignorance. And truthfully, parents beat themselves up all the time because shit happens under parents' watch all the time. So that ignorance isn't helping in these situations whatsoever. And I'm sorry, I normally agree with a lot of the stuff you say. This one, absolutely not. And I will have to say something about it, because if you think that that's the case, then you should understand that so many people would lose their kids and they don't have another parent to go to because both parents were in the home when it happened. Nobody's at fault for somebody else offending. That is fucking ridiculous and disgusting to put the blame on Katie and Chris.
Yeah.
Wow. But why? Because of what happened to him in California under his supervision, or under him and Katie Proudfoot's supervision?
That and the fact that he hasn't got the correct help.
Same
in California, he was seeing a doctor by the name of Dr. Franny at Balboa.
Oh, wait, but in the interview we just watched before, Seth said that she didn't get him any help, that he had just started getting him help, that he wasn't getting help. Inconsistencies, actually point them out, Brittany. If you want to actually point out inconsistencies, there's a whole lot. I'm not doing that because I don't think Seth had anything to do with the disappearance of his son. Do I think Seth made some major lapse of judgment on these streets? Absolutely. But you will not weaponize what he actually said against the rest of us. Let's get that straight. I don't play little kid games. I will come back and show exactly what was said time and time again. This is ridiculous and didn't need to happen to Sebastian by Seth, his biological father. But you're not going to twist and turn for some emotional manipulation game that you tried to play last night and today. Not going to happen on Granny or me. You brought me into it. You asked for this.
And she didn't appreciate the fact that I stood up and used a stern voice with her and told her she wasn't doing anything for my son by letting him play with toys and choose what movie or, you know, he gets to watch when he gets out of the thing. That's not helping him. That's not the proper therapy. I'm already researching this. She wasn't. What's the word I'm looking for? She wasn't qualified for that type of therapy, because that's a different type of therapy for traumatic sexual abuse.
Okay. And again, I am not a medical professional, but I know a little something about a little something in this realm of things. And let me just say once again, for all my therapist friends out here and all my professional friends out here, because there's a lot of them in the comment section, art therapy, play therapy, for a traumatic incident with a minor is a very typical thing that is done to lead into trauma therapy. You have to find a way to get the kid to open up. And a lot of times they are complete balled up, don't want to talk about it. So you find ways to build the trust. And art therapy, play therapy, a lot of things come out in art therapy and play therapy. It is a very, very proven, factually proven technique with working into trauma for juveniles. It's 100%, and people that do it are amazing. Trust and believe. And if you don't believe me, go Google it or call your local therapist.
And that's a different type of class.
All right. And you're sure of that? Are you sure of that? That she didn't have the credentials to handle that type of therapy?
Yes.
All right. Okay. I know that we're doing a little bit backwards. Okay. But I do have a lot of questions that we got to go all the way back a little bit. Okay. So I understand that this happened in California.
Guys, I will read all of the members and the super chat stuff. I see them coming in. Thank you guys so much. I'm trying to get through this. This is hard enough as it is. And then I will read all of your guys's in just a minute. I'm not ignoring you. Please understand this is just a heavy topic and I want to get through it as fast as possible.
And we got to dive into it a little bit more so we understand a little bit more of this information. Because you did drop this on Justin. Shout out to Justin on TikTok. And it was shocking. Okay. But you did say that in California, while Sebastian was under Katie Proudfoot's supervision.
Can I interrupt you?
Go ahead. By all means. Go ahead.
All right. A lot of people are, this is the information that I'm giving is facts.
Pointer lover, the thing about it is there shouldn't be fan clubs on any other side. There are typical parents who make mistakes. Everybody does. There shouldn't be fan clubs for either one of them. But if you're going to point out inconsistencies and weaponize things that were actually stated by parents, people are going to come back and point out the facts. There shouldn't be teams of pro Katie, Chris versus Seth. I don't hate any of them. I don't have a personal relationship. We have a missing child that's been completely lost in all the chaos out here. There should not be a hero and a villain in this story because unfortunately we have a missing person. I said it in my members only today, and I think I stated it as well as I possibly could. These are real lives. These are real people behind this story. At one point in time in true crime, we had a missing person segment that people would rally around and support the missing person's loved ones because there's so many circumstances that people go missing under, including minor children. But now we have true crime creators who don't have a crime because we don't have evidence of a crime. We just have a missing child who is classified in many ways as a runaway, what is being stated by PIs and all these other things. But true crime creators have decided that it's their cross to bear to create a crime. And then like a board game of Clue, pick the characters who are responsible for committing those crimes. We have jumped the gun so far out of what is even right, ethical, morally, anything. Now that we have these two sides of the teams, and unfortunately, when you have a side, you miss the missing person, and that's Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian is the one that has forgotten all of this stuff once again.
It's not me trying to throw punches or whatnot, but this is the third time that something major has happened to my child underneath their watch. And they need to own it. They need to own the fact that they have fucked up yet again. And I'm sitting here being Sebastian's voice. Because right now he doesn't have one until we find him and find out what happened. All right. I've told everybody you're innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
That's just the way the system works. There's nothing I can do about that. That's the way the system works. And that's the way it should work.
This is real hard. It's getting hard to not say a whole lot about Seth Rogers' own words. It's really hard. And I continue to remain on the side of innocent until proven guilty. But when you're out here, dude, slinging mud constantly, like you've been doing, your actions are showing something completely different than what your words are saying. That's all I got to say on that.
You're innocent until proven guilty.
Mhm. Now, I understand that you are, I believe that you are telling the truth. I don't think you have, why would you sit here, go out of your way, not spitting facts, right? So it wouldn't make any sense for you to just go out of your way to just talk wild, suddenly out of nowhere, and aimlessly in some sort of way. And I don't think what you're saying right now and what you've given to us is aimless or doesn't have any clout, isn't backed up with proof, which of course I am very curious about some of these things as well. But what I need to understand though is that this happened under her supervision in California.
No pointer lover. I was just pointing out the bigger picture here behind all of it. There shouldn't be sides, and people have every right. It's interesting to me how people have trashed and bashed Katie and Chris, though. And then as soon as Seth gets called to the floor, called to the carpet on things that he's been saying, it's poor Seth. There is such a disparity in this situation. It's glaringly obvious. And I'm sorry, but there ain't no hero in this. We have a missing child.
Is that right or wrong?
That's right.
Was Chris involved in that at all? Because I think that's one thing that a lot of people are very curious about as well.
Chris was living with her then.
Okay. So who is this kid? Who is this 13-year-old kid, if he was 13, 15, whatever age he was, who did this unthinkable thing to Sebastian? Who is the kid?
I don't know his last name. Sheriffs wouldn't give me his last name.
But why not?
California CPS children under the age of 13 and under are actually protected.
And Willow, I get what you're saying. I get that. I've said that before too. I'm sure the natural course of action would be to blame anybody because your child's missing. Like there's no answers. There's no evidence. It's hard. That's human nature, is to want to blame somebody. But there is a lot of contention in this before. If you're asking me my personal opinion on there's a lot of bitterness throughout these situations. But at one point in time, it seemed like they were kind of on a same level. There's been some other things stated that sounds like there was some healing going on. And then this happened and all of it started again. And the one that suffers with all of the petty adult shit is the missing child. That's what happens.
So they wouldn't give me any information. They weren't letting me do anything. The only thing they let me do was I asked him if I could contact the school psychologist, if he could sit there and tell the school psychologist the person's name so that the other children that was around him would not become victims as well. And I went as far as finding out, the parents, from my understanding, the parents told Katie and Chris that their kid picked it up off of watching YouTube. Me personally, I've never seen like that stuff on YouTube. So
neither have I. So what is he?
Come on, guys. Like, we know that there's some inappropriate things on YouTube. Come on, people. Like, this is
watching on the tubes that would give him the disturbing education like that. That's what I'd like to know as well. Huh? So he learned this.
With his age, I would have to say that somebody was abusing the child.
Huh.
It had been probably going on for a while for him to think that it was normal, so he did it to my son. That's why I'm asking about my son having the correct therapy to get him back on track. I mean, he's autistic. He's not mentally as old as he is physically. I mean, he's smart, but, delayed in learning. He's physically 15. Mentally, he's probably 10 or 11, and he's going through.
And that's a problem for me, because if you're saying he was mentally 10 or 11, why are you leaving the kid unattended for 12 hours when you're at work? I mean, there's a ton of questions that could be raised in all of this, but actually, factually speaking, this is not the baseline of Sebastian being missing. And all of this is unnecessary information that just added to the chaos of the story.
Adolescent. His body's producing hormones that he has no idea what's about. And I don't think things are lining up in his brain like they're supposed to, because obviously he's got a 6q chromosomal deletion syndrome, and he's got diagnosed with autism.
Okay.
Understandable. And I get it that what he went through is a lot to process, no matter if he had autism or not. Being a kid, 7 or 8 years old, that's a lot to process as a kid. I can't even imagine any child going through any of that. But question though, did you know of this said kid? We're going to use 13 years old. I know Katie Proudfoot said he wasn't 13 years old, and I get that semantics or technicalities.
Brittany, I know you're here in the bushes, so listen for a moment.
But I'm just going to call him the 13-year-old kid from this point on, okay? So did you know anything about this 13-year-old kid before you heard about this tragedy and this trauma that was inflicted upon Sebastian?
I did not.
You had no idea about this child. Okay. So then how did you find out? Because in the interview with Justin on TikTok, okay, you said you made it sound like you expressed some concerns about Sebastian hanging out with this 13-year-old kid while he was about 7 or 8 years old, and you were uncomfortable with it. And then, of course, this tragedy and this trauma was inflicted. So I want to get some clarity on that. Did you not know about, did you have a strange inkling about this 13-year-old, or did you find out after the fact from Katie Proudfoot that this trauma was inflicted upon Sebastian?
Katie Proudfoot, who at that time was Katie Payne.
Another unnecessary detail that he didn't need to put out publicly. I mean, people already knew, but still.
Found out from her. She says she had contacted CPS on the other family. Therefore, I found out from her and
Katie reported it. So what a horrible mother that reported it and instantly did what she could. Horrible mother, though, right? Taking care of what she should have done to protect her kid. Terrible parent, though. Just allowed it to happen under her watch. I'm so sick of these narratives. I'm so fucking sick of that shit.
CPS spoke to me, and that's when I started dealing with CPS and the sheriff's department.
Because Katie did the right thing and called it in and reported it to get her son help.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
There's more.
Me and Katie used to communicate a lot more than we do now.
We're going to talk about that in a second. But real quick, as soon as you found out about this tragedy that happened to Sebastian at 7 or 8 years old in California, what did you do?
I immediately contacted the sheriff's department. I wanted to find out what was going to happen to the child.
Okay.
I wanted to, what they were going to do to protect my son, protect this child that more than likely has been a victim already, and what they were going to do to prevent it. And I don't think the sheriff's department did anything. Another time that the law has failed our children.
Because I know that you said on the interview as well that you couldn't do anything because of the state, because the state that you're in, because of the state of California, that you couldn't press charges on this 13-year-old kid. Can you explain to me why you couldn't press charges on this kid? He just committed a crime, allegedly. So why couldn't you press charges on this 13-year-old kid?
Because of his age.
9 times out of 10, if there's evidence of abuse, the state will pick up the charges. You don't have to press them.
13. They won't press charges against a 13-year-old for that.
That's not true.
What was told to me by the sheriff's department? My son got upset because I didn't tell him I knew. Thought that his mom hadn't told me. And he got upset one day, and I was like, son, I do know. And if you ever want to talk to me about it, you can. But at the same point in time, I was trying to take care of things on my end. You know,
I get it. I fully get it. I think it's crazy to me that you couldn't do anything. It doesn't make any. I don't get it. I mean, I don't live in California, and I don't know the law out there.
Yeah.
But I am still very shocked. What were you saying?
I said, but you wear LA gear all the time.
I do.
Every situation with this is so differing. There would have to, I would have to factually know more information about this to tell you exactly if there was charges that could have been pressed or not. We don't know that. We should have never known this to begin with. These are minors that we're discussing. These are personal private information of minors. Yes, a lot of times the state will pick up charges, but there's a whole process behind a lot of this that people are just looking right over.
I really do. I really, really do. Maybe I'm trying to manifest something. You feel me? But
Careful.
still, right. But still, I am quite curious as to why that seems so odd to me that you couldn't do anything in the state of California when a crime was committed against your son during that time. It still does blow my mind. But when you found out, going back to it, when you found out from Katie Proudfoot at that time, can you tell me where was your mindset? How did that feel?
I really don't want to state that in public.
Rockabit, April 5th, 2024 on the Pascal show. It was the day after he released the information on Justin on TikTok, which would have been April 4th.
Okay. Fair enough.
My big friend. He just had his innocence taken from him. It took me a minute to digest, and it took me a minute to figure out the proper way to go about it instead of, someone just hurt my baby. So,
of course, I get that. And I know that you were, when you talked about it the other day, we all saw that emotion. We all know. And I think we also second that emotion as well. If we were in those shoes as well, we would be just as shocked.
There's no apology for my behavior. I got upset. I was mad. I'm exhausted. And it takes a while for me to get to that point. But first of all, I don't like people trying to hold something over my head.
Yeah.
Something that
Pay close attention to what's about to be stated. And then I'm going to play Brittany's clip once again when we're done with this so you can hear and wrap it all up. I think I've made my point pretty clear so far.
Happened under their watch, and he needs help. And, we're finally getting him the help he needs. It's late. And now I got to find him.
Right. You are absolutely right. So then tell me then, because I feel like you suddenly out of nowhere, and understandably, I feel like you hit a wall, you got emotionally exhausted. Of course, if I'm putting words in your mouth or emotions in your head that weren't really there, please stop me while I continue. But I feel like at some point you hit a wall. You were at wit's end. You had enough. You were tired of being diplomatic, tired of being the nice guy. And you said, you know what? F it. I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off. Everyone's going to hear this truth because you know what? I don't know where he is. And these other two are not supporting or helping me in the search for Sebastian.
So you just acknowledge that this man had no reason to put all this private information out there, but because Chris and Katie, the assumption from the internet is that they're not doing anything to help Seth or find Sebastian, then they're going to weaponize Sebastian's most private information. Pascal, you should probably listen to what you just stated there. There's no excuse for this type of behavior. This is a minor's personal private information that the internet should have never known. Minors' records are locked up for a reason. 100% for a reason. And some parents probably shouldn't even have access to them either, because it's not your right to exploit a minor's most private details. I don't care if you gave birth to them or donated the sperm. I don't care. And this goes blanket statement, not just to Seth. I don't give a shit. Children deserve to be protected, and their personal private information deserves to be protected. You don't get to weaponize it for games in this situation. It's disgusting.
Am I anywhere near close to why maybe you started to put this information out for everyone to hear?
My son is a victim.
Listen up.
And if victims don't get the proper help, they repeat because all of a sudden they think it's normal.
Wait, what was just said? Let's back that up. Brittany, pay close fucking attention. This is how this is done. If you want to correct misinformation, then get right what we're trying to say.
Because all of a sudden they think it's normal. Son's autistic. And if he doesn't get the proper help, we don't want him to become that.
Oh.
So you do preventive maintenance.
Oh.
And you get him the help. And there's multiple different ways. But if you're not certified in the proper way to get him help, you're just going to make it worse.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I get that. I fully get that. So then, okay.
Again, words stated out of this man's mouth. Stop trying to leverage shit at the rest of us because you got a personal fucking beef with Granny's watching. You demanded I corrected this. You demanded I brought attention to it. Here you go, Brittany. I brought attention to it. Are you happy now for twisting people's words and trying to emotionally manipulate them over some BS that was actually said? But don't worry, I'll go back and remind everybody of what you claimed was stated that wasn't, after they just listened to all of it. I got you, girl. Don't worry. You came to the right one to ask for help of how to point out misinformation. I'm good at what I do.
Okay. You had a conversation, a not so pleasant conversation with Chris Proudfoot and Katie Proudfoot on the phone. It was a heated argument, heated conversation. Chris Proudfoot said something along the lines of, people are asking about why I don't like having Sebastian anywhere near Faith.
Listen up.
And if you keep on pushing me, I'm about to air everything out. I'm about to air all this dirty laundry, whether you like it or not. And guess what? No one's going to want to support or try to find Sebastian. Am I correct?
I'm sorry. What was that?
Oh, that was a long thing that I just said. That was a lot of work. No, I got you. I got you.
Hold on.
I was reading something. My bad.
You're good, homie. You're good, homie. There's a lot of people here that want to know the truth and understand what's going on. So I'm going to repeat it one last time. Okay. So you had
made them. This is the last time.
No. Time out, bro. Hold up. Well, what I'm trying to understand here, so that everyone understands as well, is that you had a not so pleasant conversation on the phone with Chris and Katie Proudfoot. And during this argument or this conversation, Chris said something along the lines of, everyone keeps on asking me why I don't like having Sebastian anywhere near Faith. And I will air that stuff out if you keep pushing me. And guess what's going to happen? Nobody's going to want to look for Sebastian because of his past. Am I correct?
Wow, you cut out there bad.
Okay.
But yeah, just the way you were saying, sorry, because I lost everything on there.
It's okay.
Listen.
It keeps freezing on my end.
Listen up.
Yes, me and Chris and Katie had a conversation, and Chris asked me, people are asking me this question. If they don't stop asking me this question, I'm going to have no choice but to tell them. Well, now he can sit there and tell them. At the same point in time, I know that I know that his daughter, Faith, FaceTimes with my son all the time and considers my son her older brother. And he considers Faith his little sister. And if he's anything like his dad, we're supposed to protect the young ones. We're supposed to protect our sister. We're supposed to protect people. And that's one of the things I've been trying to instill with him to combat what has happened to him.
Just wait. We're
Mm.
there.
No, I'm still trying to understand a little bit more about this too. Okay. This tragedy happens to Sebastian against his will. It's not like he decided to have this crime committed against him. It happened under Katie Proudfoot's supervision. And yet Chris is still trying to hold that over your head as if Sebastian's some sort of monster. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. This is an innocent kid where this happened to him. So I don't get that part.
Pay attention.
Chris doesn't see him as innocent. It would be the only thing I could say. Honestly, you'd have to. I know they're, you know, I know that my son has done some questionable things, but at the same point in time, he's not understanding what's going on, and nobody's talking to him about it.
So
I don't even know. I don't even know if they teach the same things at school that they taught us, because we had sex education class. You know, we had sex education. We had human biology. I mean,
if you've missed the implications that he's made in all of his statements, we've heard 2 different interviews now with what he has stated in this. If you've missed that, Brittany, clean your fucking ears out. We're not done yet, though.
Right.
I don't know what they teach the kids.
Trigger warning.
Kids in school anymore.
Seth, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So Seth, I got to ask you, when you say questionable things, that Sebastian has done some questionable things, I'm not asking you to go into gritty details or anything of that sort, but I'm wondering, what are these questionable details that would make Chris not comfortable having Sebastian near Faith? Can you expand a little bit on that?
I don't know if that violate YouTube or not. But when he pulls out his wiener in the men's bathroom and you're like, look, this is mine. What's yours look like? I mean, that's innocent kid shit.
Right. Right.
I was a kid at one point in time.
So was I. Last I checked.
I mean, no, I might have been this age my whole life. But
I want to, Pascal, this sealed the deal for me on Pascal. This interview right here, on top of the other ones, sealed the deal for me on him. And Seth, this is too far. Sebastian deserves better than this, truly, from you especially. I have no doubt in my mind that he loves you to the moon and back. I have no doubt in my mind that he loves his mom to the moon and back. It's hard enough being a teenager, but you didn't have the right to do this, even though you helped bring him into this world. This wasn't your trauma to leverage.
We had sex education classes, so we already knew, you know,
right.
things weren't, I don't even know. Like, when I went to school, we saw pictures of vaginas and penises. I mean, it was like, look, this is sex education classes. These are condoms. These are STDs. This is what you get if you have unprotected sex.
Right.
You know, this is part of health education. And I mean, I don't even know if they teach that stuff in school anymore. I mean, they used to teach us financial stuff in school so that we knew how to balance checkbooks, take care of people. I don't know if they teach this stuff in the schools anymore. I know my son hasn't. I've been helping him with history. Last time I was helping him with homework.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it sounds like normal behavior from a regular kid that's going through changes and growing and going through puberty and all those things. That's what it sounds like to me. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
So I am kind of curious. Go ahead.
Yeah.
He has an issue with personal space, as Chris has pointed out. But, like, he has that issue with everybody.
Right.
You know, when he I mean, It's like, son, you need to stay back just a little bit so you can be, because the closer you get, I'm going to ask you to brush your teeth.
This makes me sick.
Yeah. I totally understand that. Sounds like an innocent kid to me. If you ask me, sounds like an innocent kid.
Absolutely an innocent kid that didn't deserve to have this trauma weaponized. And it's not fair for other creators to attempt to weaponize it because they've been called to the carpet for their own bullshit. Brittany J, I'm speaking to you. You have personal issues with grannies watching. Don't make it about this, because this was unfair what happened to this child the first time, and then you lying about it and trying to toss shade at somebody else for saying things that were put out here by the biologic father. Again, your bias has totally misguided you in this.
So it doesn't make any sense that he would be like, oh no, like this, like Sebastian has some sort of leprosy or something like that. I think that's a little bit extreme. But we do need to talk about this, and I appreciate you being here to clarify a lot of this, etc. One of the other things, though, too, after everything that happened, she called CPS on the child's family, and all that during that time. Why wasn't there? And I know a lot of people have asked this question.
You absolutely did not, Granny. I went and listened to it too. I do my due diligence like I was demanded to do, and I spent the morning doing this. Here's the product of what happened.
Why wasn't he taken away from that home at that time? Why couldn't you take him? Why couldn't you take him?
We were still in the middle of the divorce. The divorce hadn't settled yet. This didn't happen after the divorce. This was happening during the divorce.
So this happened during.
By the way, for those in the back that might not understand how sexual assault goes in minors, yes, it's usually automatically reported, either self-reported by the family members, the therapist, a loved one, anybody that the child confides in, to CPS. A case is opened. Investigations can go on. Utah, for instance, I know about Utah's systems. They have a children's justice center where they bring in forensic interviewers, which are usually law enforcement. That's always what they are. They have therapists, all sorts of stuff. They go through physical examinations. There's a whole lot that entails this type of thing. But the first call is to CPS very often because they help assist get minors the help that they need, so on and so forth. If the parent was the one that reported and the parent didn't know, they have done everything they can. Why would you remove a child from a home? That shit happens in homes all across the country. If we start pulling kids out because they've been SA'd under their parents' watch when the parent had nothing to do with it, no knowledge of it, and then took the adequate steps to get the child help, our system is already broken with CPS, our foster care system, all this stuff. I hear all these people talk about how there's so many kids. How many of you adopted? How many are you all trying to raise and help in this situation? Meanwhile, we have people thinking that they should all just be yanked because this happened under Katie's watch. Katie took every appropriate step, in my opinion, from what we have heard publicly out of Seth's own mouth once again, to do what she could to help Sebastian through this. She contacted proper authorities. Okay, there's that.
The divorce. So
and when I brought it up, I was instead of being the worried father, they turned around and pretty much said you're the hateful ex-husband.
Right. So let's talk about that for a second. Now, I know that there's been a lot of paperwork, documents that were leaked.
Okay, I think you guys get the point. Let me go back over here and let's rewrap this by watching what she claimed. Just so you guys can, once again, if you missed this, this is why I corrected this today.
But yeah, can I just jump in here? Yeah, he said Nancy.
I'm going to start with the clip that she.
She's absolutely. Because if you truly cared about the victims like you say you do, you would have never just sat there and went along with that today. Sitting there saying she can understand why Chris was trying to protect his daughter from Sebastian. That Sebastian, Chris, that because it was Seth's fault that we know what we know about Sebastian. Seth never said that about his son. And shame on you. I got the clip and I'm going to play it.
I got the clip and I'm going to play it. But meanwhile, she didn't mind and go to look for what Seth actually stated. You're welcome. I did it for you.
I want y'all to listen to this. I want y'all to listen closely.
That
I'll
one
accept
makes
the
me cry how
correction.
somebody
Because they're
can say
not
that
going
about
to.
him.
And I'm an SA survivor myself. And let me tell you something.
Complete unnecessary emotional manipulation. Once again, just pointing it out. Sorry to anybody that's been SA'd. It's not fair to anybody. But to attempt to do this and play this emotional manipulation game, meanwhile, while distorting the truth of what was actually said by Seth Rogers and blaming Granny for doing something that didn't happen, this is disgusting. Truly. Do better.
As an SA survivor myself, you couldn't pay me $1 million to touch another person. Just because you're SA'd, it does not make you an aggressor. It doesn't mean you're going to do. And that baby is innocent, and he did not deserve that. And I'm sick of it. Now, do I have?
You know what I'm sick of? I'm sick of your ignorance. You not following stories. You not doing your own due diligence and going and watching this shit. You getting sent clips and you running with it like you got something. And meanwhile, you look like a bigger ass. Stop doing this shit, Brittany. Stop. That's why you're called to the carpet. You wanted me to address it. I'm addressing it. Stop putting my name in shit when I'm going to come back and show you the receipts. Not going to be a game you want to play. Trust and believe.
Do I have biases? Absolutely, I do. This girl has tried to rip me a new one.
She's talking about.
But what I also know is you're not going to come after me day after day. Yeah, they tried to destroy me because Regina says that bedwetting is a sign of trauma. They ripped me one. They ripped me one for 4 hours straight. But guess
Which is
what?
actually a medical.
That's ironic. They ripped me one for 4 hours straight. Meanwhile, she rips Katie and Chris and the parents of a missing child for 3 to 6 hours on the nightly, every night. Talks about them, spreads rumors, affairs, things like that we have no proof of. She don't care. That's the family of a victim. Oh, how dare you talk about things that she actually said, though, for 4 hours. Oh, my God, it's cancel culture. Poor Brittany.
Fact, by the way, in psychology.
We didn't even say SA at the time. That's what makes it so bad.
And if you're going to actually be an adult and talk about these things, you should use the proper terms. SA, I get that you don't want to lose your monetization because that's your job. This is your career to exploit victims. I get that. But if you're going to have the balls to discuss these things, at least learn the proper terms. Sexual assault happens, unfortunately, way too often. 1 in 4 is kind of the stat, depending on, male, female, where you live, things of that nature. 1 in 4 people are sexually assaulted, men and women. It has to be talked about. It has to be addressed properly because unfortunately, when you are trying to shift blame and do all these things and weaponize people's trauma, it ain't a good look. And that's what you're doing.
But here we are. Y'all going to sit here and let this go on? Let me play this for y'all. I want y'all to listen because I know how she is. She likes to delete stuff. No, I'm done. I'm done. Nope.
What you're doing right now, Brittany, is to protect Seth, or to protect Seth and Sebastian. It's not about any of us. It's about Seth and Sebastian. So go ahead.
It's so wrong. It's so wrong. And if anybody stands for it, you're shame on you. Y'all prove you don't give a F while y'all sit there and drag us and talk about how horrible we're tragedy pimps, right? And we don't care about these kids we exploit, right? You're going to sit there and let her say that crap. Nobody corrected her. Nobody. And to my knowledge, this ain't the first time. Hold on a minute.
Said in a previous interview there was turmoil at home. The one you comment on
Listen to her mock.
we've heard Chris talk about it, and we've heard Seth talk about it. About Chris didn't want Sebastian around his younger daughter,
right?
And that would
we've heard Chris say this. Has Chris come out and said that?
Nope, sure hasn't. Chris hasn't. Seth has. Seth spoke for Chris, according to Seth. We don't know what Chris actually stated. That's factual, though. They don't deal in factual things.
was a big problem.
Right.
So can you comment on any of the situation going on at home before Sebastian went missing?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Chris admitted to there being CPS calls. And I really think the way you described it was that it was plural. I have confirmation that those did happen.
But yeah, can I just jump in here? Yeah, he said Nancy Grace, there was no CPS calls, none.
Right. So he's kind of
Pertaining to Sebastian, he answers the way the question is given. The guy is intelligent. He doesn't beat around the bush. He's not playing into the games. He answers the question the way he's given. Now, not only that, but let's face it, if what Seth came out and told all of us was true, then it is Chris's responsibility to protect his daughter while protecting Sebastian, right? Now, Seth unfortunately brought this information out. Seth unfortunately told us that things had happened. And absolutely, I would not be angry at Chris for wanting to protect his daughter from that same type of trauma, while also protecting Sebastian. I don't know why people act like that's such a, like that. I mean, that's common. It's normal.
He's backtracking on what he had said, you know, because I don't know if I told y'all the last time I was on here, I was like, I'm just posting their words.
Right, what they have said.
I'm not even making a post with an opinion in it. I'm just saying what they've said.
Are you saying what Seth has said?
Exactly.
So
Watch.
yeah.
Exactly.
It does seem like there were some issues for Chris with Sebastian and his daughter being together.
But why? But why? Okay. Listen to me saying that her dogs are distracting while I have a distracting cat down the bottom. I have no business. Hey, Katie. So this is annoying because she put out the words where Seth says that Sebastian's head went into his hand. Was that placed out there?
Sebastian had not, there's been no reports of Sebastian.
It's coming. She's about to say it.
Directly with his daughter.
No,
of course not. Right. And
why would you even ask that then? Why wouldn't you ask the question that we all know? We all know without a doubt, because of Seth, that Sebastian was a victim and he started mimicking those behaviors onto others. That is how it was.
Do you hear that?
No, she did not say that.
Did you just hear that?
Yeah.
You can piss and moan about the choice of the word mimicking. You can hear what Seth said, what he exactly said. Could she used a different word? Yeah. Semantics. We can play that all day long. The point is, Seth said what Seth said. Granny wasn't inappropriate in what she was repeating that Seth said. Whether you like her or not, it's right there. You guys see all of what happened. Plus, there's plenty more clips of where it was discussed and other things added to it.
So
We all know, and she says without a doubt, right? Without a doubt.
Sebastian tripped on a leg.
I'm going to play it again. She says, we all know without a doubt
that he was a victim. We all know that he was a victim. How do you not?
That from Sebastian.
Oh my God.
From Seth, that Sebastian was SA'd and he started mimicking those behaviors onto others. Listen to this shit again. She said this today, y'all.
And we just heard what Seth said.
And guess what? None of them in the chat corrected her. None of them.
No, because we listened
Hold on a
to
minute.
it.
I'm going to play it again. I'm going to play just that part. Listen closely.
Hey, Katie. So this is annoying because she put out the words where Seth says that Sebastian's head went into his hand. Was that placed out there?
Sebastian had not, there's been no reports of Sebastian behaving inappropriately directly with his daughter.
No.
Of course not. Right. And
why would you even ask that then? Why wouldn't you ask the question that we all know? We all know without a doubt, because of Seth, that Sebastian was a victim and he started mimicking those behaviors onto others. That is how it was consumed through what Seth has stated. So,
and again, she could have used implied instead of consumed. You can play semantics with wording all day long. What she said is what Seth was saying. She was basically telling you, this is what Seth implied with his statements. These are the things that Seth said publicly. You can play semantics with those two words as much as you want. It's not going to change what Seth said. Again, Brittany, you were the one wrong on this one.
So why would you even ask if it had to do with Chris and his daughter?
Yeah, totally fine.
Can you believe that?
And that's consume, like that's what you're taking in, you're consuming it. Totally fine word, but she can play semantic because that's what she's going to come back and say. Mimic and consume. Those are just choice words that you chose to use. They can be twisted in any way, shape, or form, but the meaning behind what you said was still very clear.
Tragic him.
Okay.
Being an anti-tragic him.
No. What she said
How
was,
dare she
what she said
do a
was,
live on that?
Shut
yeah,
up,
but what she
Sarah.
said
Who is
was,
this?
that is what was consumed by Seth's behavior.
Well, that's because she's ignorant and she don't understand what words mean, Nana.
Ignorant.
What she's trying to say is it's basically that all right, somebody's got a horrible echo. Jackie, you got to turn your YouTube off, sweetheart.
Yeah,
Hang
I
on.
mean, she went
What
over the
she's
line
trying to
tonight.
what she's saying is she's ignorant. She don't know how to pronounce words or understand the meanings. She's trying to sound smart, but what she's saying is basically that is everything that Seth has reiterated to us. He has put that out. But guess what? He hasn't. But that's what you get when you got somebody who does drama 98% of the time, and she only jumps in every once in a while to cover a case when something big happens. And then this is one of the main people that's been coming after me to destroy me.
To destroy me.
For things that aren't even nowhere near as bad as that. She literally just accused Sebastian of
Literally.
SA behaviors. And don't tell me that I got it wrong, because
You got it wrong. Sorry, I'm telling you. I don't just have to tell you, though. I showed everybody. Sorry, you demanded I did it. You're welcome.
just gave y'all full 3 minutes of that conversation just so she could say she can't say that I took her out of freaking context. And shame on all of you creators that were in her chat today, because these are the people.
Shame on all of us.
That deets on the streets, nonsense.
At your service, you asked, I shall appear.
And all of them, these are the people that's who they support. They support her. So
don't assume I support people either because I'm in chats. Yeah, I support Granny. Yeah, Granny's been doing great. What I've seen, again, I pop in and pop out. It's so weird that people, if you're in a chat of somebody they don't like, this has been happening all over because I go wherever the hell I want to. If it's a conversation about this, I might not even agree with the creator, but I want to be a part of the conversation because it's really interesting to sit back and watch everybody else's opinions and thoughts on this. So I'll be places that I might not even agree with stuff on. But, oh, if you're in that chat and they say something, you better stop everything. I did it for you today. You're welcome.
And Deets on the streets, you want to do a live about me because Regina said victims of trauma wet the bed.
Oh, let me show you one other thing. So she didn't just stop there. She didn't just stop there last night.
I hope it's nice where all you are. I just figured, why not go live? I'm going to be driving for a while. I'm sleep deprived.
This is this morning's stream from her backup channel.
I got about 3 hours of sleep. And I figured, Retro, do you want to come up with me?
Let's fast forward.
Anybody wants to in chat if you remember other people say. Just because somebody on my panel said something, it doesn't give you the right to deflect, and it doesn't change anything. So she made a community post this morning. Oh, Retro, did you hear what she said?
She's referencing Granny's watching again. This is this morning's stream.
She doubled down, you guys. She absolutely doubled down and said that Seth said that about Sebastian. So
I just went and pulled the clips. You're welcome.
So for anybody who's out of the loop, Granny's Watching was live yesterday, and she was covering Web Sleuth's interview with Chris Proudfoot and Seth. And she had the gall and the sheer audacity.
The gall and audacity, Granny. How dare you, Granny?
to say that
The dramatics and all of this when she's fucking so wrong still is so funny to me.
Seth told everybody that Sebastian was SA'd, and it was Seth who told everybody that Sebastian was exhibiting those same behaviors onto others. I could not believe it.
If you're just coming in, rewind, because I rolled the beautiful bean footage of everything Seth said in 2 interviews. Not just 1, 2. You're welcome. I did the work for you.
Oh, we got a guest.
Oh,
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, I'm so I'm gonna be in the garden, but I'll help you look at the chat and things. I'm gonna keep it muted though, unless I have to say something or tell you something.
Okay. But did you hear what I was saying about what Granny put out today?
I heard part of it. Doesn't surprise me at all.
She doubled down, and she's literally saying she's trying to change it up a little and say that, well, Seth said that Sebastian, or she said, she was like, come on, Seth said Sebastian didn't get therapy. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean that Sebastian exhibits those same behaviors. You can't change it. Just because Sebastian didn't get therapy, that doesn't give you the right to go on a panel and say that he is mimicking the same behaviors that happened to him onto others, y'all.
and Seth said without the appropriate help.
I thought that his mom said that she did put him in therapy.
She did. I think what GW is talking about is Seth said that she didn't get Sebastian didn't get the therapy right off.
And again,
tell me you missed the point without telling me you missed the point. Anyways, you get the gist. You can go watch that if you want to. It's her ride with me, and let's discuss some things. Yeah. So I did what you demanded I do. I corrected Granny's watching. Actually, it turned out I corrected you. Sorry how that worked out. Wasn't my intent, but factually speaking, this is what happens when you just come out here and let your personal hatred of somebody guide you, because you're missing the point once again. You have personal history with her. I get that you guys don't like each other, but when you're trying to be factual about a missing child and things that are stated, do better. Do better. It's not that hard. Anyways, that's what that is. Anybody have any questions of what was said, why it was said? Next time you call me to the carpet, I'll show up. I'll show up. You brought me into it. Why don't they ever call her out? Why don't they ever do anything that we tell them to do? I know. Brittany, before you cry and whine to everybody, guess what? Granny and I still haven't had a conversation. I didn't ask Granny for anything, or she didn't ask me to defend her. You brought my name into it. I appeared like a genie in a bottle with the receipts. I got some thank yous to give out here right quick. Brianna said, it's the Oppression Olympics. She's the only SA survivor whose opinion matters. Here's her trophy. Thank you for that. And yeah, it's really sad to weaponize that, because that wasn't necessary at all. Shame, 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 said Melissa Jade. Thank you so much. Pay close attention. AWBJ. It's so weird to... Oh, thank you, Sammy. Moy said, BJ, you're a disgrace. Shame on you. Thank you so much. Josh said, Beck, you are effing phenomenal, chick. We all love you, Kyle, and your family. The best queen ever. It's so weird when people call me a queen, because I'm just a broken asshole like the rest of you. I just like facts and details, and they matter to me, and I have a brain. But I appreciate the support so much. Thank you guys all. Music City Mom, Josh B, thank you for becoming members of the Cabana. Brianna says, it is possible for your child to be abused 5 feet away, and you don't know it. It will kill you. No one will ever blame you as much as you will. Yeah, no one will ever hate you more than you will, but it is not your fault. Fuck them both. Abso-fucking-lutely, Brianna. Thank you again. Brianna said, hey, Brittany, here's your ass pats and cookies you wanted. Welcome to the dark side. We have cookies. And Darby said, thank you for the great truth-telling. Great truth-telling. Brittany J needs to stop spreading crap. FYI, bedwetting is also inherited. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Darby C. And you are right. Like, it's not always a trauma response. There's many other factors that can play into incontinence issues. It's all over the place. And unfortunately, this is what it is. Hey, Brittany, did you know that there's also like 40 other missing children in Tennessee? A couple of my lovely friends, Kathy P. and Chico, did a live stream and discussed them. There's endless content out here of missing children. Instead of milking the same story with incorrect information over and over again, maybe you should highlight some of the missing children, you know, the other 40 that are missing in Tennessee. If you guys want to watch that, please make sure you do. I shared it on my community tab. It might be down a couple from yesterday, but I encourage you to. There are so many missing children out here, and unfortunately, they get looked right over. All kids deserve to be brought home, and all kids deserve to have attention. And this is a missing child's case. Sebastian is a missing child. We don't even have a crime to be slinging at these folks at this point in time. Yes, it is very suspicious and very unsettling that he disappeared with no trace, 100%. But factually speaking, we don't have a crime. We don't have any knowledge or evidence to support the theories that are being thrown out here. We just don't. So once again, you guys are creating a true crime case, picking the characters, just like the game of, did anybody else play that when you were growing up? That was my favorite game, and I was so damn good at that Clue game. It was Mr. with the shoe in the study. Anybody else ever play that? I loved that game growing up. But these are real people's lives. This isn't a board game. You should probably try to realize how to separate those things. The families deserve better. And when you have such a personal hatred, this ain't personal for me, Brittany. Don't try to make it that. You really don't want to go here with me. You really don't. Like, I get you and Granny have personal. Granny and I don't even know each other like that at all. Not at all. So stop bringing me into shit you probably don't want me to respond to. Okay? Yeah, Clue. I loved that. That game was so good. It helps develop thinking skills. Maybe they should have played that. I don't know. And by the way, if you're a creator out here, the one thing I have to say to you that's been weighing heavily on my mind, I know that it's YouTube. You're all like independent contractors. You think you can do whatever you want, but you owe it to these victims and their families to at least do no harm. They didn't hire you for the job of telling their stories and using their most private, vulnerable times to tell their stories. You could at least give them some dignity and respect when you tell their stories. They didn't hire you for the job. You hired yourself. So you could do better for those families. That's where I'll end it for this one. We will be back, though. Trust and believe. In a couple hours, we are going to talk about all the wonderful things. Chloe the PI, CJ, and Ronnie. There's a lot of questions that need to be asked. And we're going to ask them. And I'm going to show you some clips. And I'm going to point out some extremely problematic things that are not setting well with me one bit. We will be listening to the live stream a little bit from the other night. We will be listening to a few other things too, and it's going to be heavy. So, CJ, I understand you're on tour of the victimhood, poor me, the misinformation, slander, and defamation. It's changed from his PPP. He's got 150 now. He's got 150 excuses for his poor behavior and his slander, defamation, and misinformation. If I hear any more of that shit. But we're going to. By the way, too, I have gotten a few emails about him. When I mentioned the fund that I was hearing about, the rumor circulating, that was over the Stephen Smith and the Murdaugh stuff. I don't know the end of where I'm going to end up with that. I'm looking into it. So if you were around for those days with CJ and know what happened to all of that, I would love to know. If you were back around there, because I've heard a lot of accusations and I would like to know if they're true factually or not. So I hope you guys all have a great day. Yeah, it should be for Sebastian. Sebastian needs to be brought out to the forefront. Sebastian, who is Sebastian? What are Sebastian's hobbies? What are his likes? Oh, and we will be talking about Jay for Justice this week too. This week is a star-studded week in 11/11 true crime too. Craziness. Oh, Jen, I'll check my Facebook Messenger. I haven't checked it over the weekend. I've been all over. And I get in the zone and don't look at messages because I'm like juggling a million things. What was I just doing? Oh, what time is my live? It's for 1 p.m. So in an hour. We'll be back in an hour. The kitty is sleeping. I just fed the kitty. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot about stuff. So we'll get the kitty. I'll show you guys the kitty in a little bit. We will do kitty cam later today. He's getting big, but I had to feed him before I hurried up and got in here, and then I'll have to feed him here again in like 45 minutes. So maybe I'll get some video for you guys. But Whiskey is doing great. He's getting bigger and bigger. He's almost a pound. He's made it to 2 weeks. He's officially 14 days old. So, all right, y'all. Thanks for joining me. If you have questions, leave them in the comment section below. Brittany, learn how to pull clips. Learn how to be factual. It's not that fucking hard. You owe it to the victims if you're going to tell their stories. Have a great day, y'all.